Welcome to the One Life, One Chance podcast. I'm your host, Toby Morse. Today I have a very special guest. This is the first time ever, me being nervous in my own house, in my own kitchen. I've interviewed over 50 people. But today I have the legendary, very inspirational human that walks this planet, inspired millions and millions of people, so many different generations. Mr. HR from the Bad Brains and his wonderful wife, Lori, here today on the podcast. So thank you guys for being here.
You're welcome.
Thanks for having us.
This is crazy. I never expected in a million years growing up, going to shows, that I actually be doing this, having a podcast, let alone having you guys in my kitchen. So before we get to how you guys met and before we get to music and all that stuff, I like to take you back a little bit to the early beginnings of you growing up. So you were born in Liverpool?
Yes, I was.
It was because your family was like in a military base or something out there?
Yes, Air Force.
And so how long did you live there before you came to the States?
We were in Liverpool, and then we moved to Jamaica, and then we came forward from Jamaica to Washington, D.C., and then we did a little traveling out in California and Texas and Connecticut and Washington. We resided in Washington.
Yeah.
We stayed there since 25, 26, 27 years now.
Awesome. So how old were you when you moved there? Like,
Oh, I was about 15 or 16.
so you obviously went to school in Liverpool before you went to the States.
Yes, sir.
So that must have been really different.
No, I went to primary school in Jamaica, Kingston,
Oh,
Jamaica.
wow.
And then we were, first grade, we went to Hawaii. We stayed there for about 4.5, 5 years.
Oh, wow. That's awesome, man. That's a lot of traveling at a young age.
Yes, it is. I went to Oahu. We lived in Oahu. And Y and I first, it was between 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So that's probably when you first exposure to actually reggae music, too, living in Jamaica, right?
Yes, it was. Well, when I lived in Jamaica, I listened to a song that was called Israelite, and that's where I got my first inspiration from.
Awesome. So hearing that music and then moving to Washington, D.C., how was it? Well, first of all, how were you in school?
I went to Prince George's County Community College for about 2 years, and before then I went to District Heights, Maryland school. It's called Central High School.
Yeah.
And I met Gary and Earl and Daryl a couple of years after that, around 1977.
Yeah.
And then we started with this group called Mind Power. We were playing a lot of jazz.
Yeah, it was fusion. I have it written right behind you, 1977, Mind Power Jazz Fusion. But how were you in school? Like, did you get good grades? Did you graduate? Did you like school?
Yeah, I did. I liked school, but I almost did. I barely passed the 12th grade.
Oh, wow.
Because I was in the hospital for an operation.
Oh, wow.
But I lived through it and broke the school record as a pole vaulter.
School where?
Broke the school record as a pole vaulter.
Yeah, pole vault. I saw in swimming too, right?
But I broke the school record around 1974, 73, 74.
Wow. So what got you into that? Like, how'd you find out about that?
Well, I was living in New York at the time, 14 and 15, and I had a beautiful coach in pole vaulting named Mr. Harrison.
Okay.
And that's where I got the inspiration from, Mr. Harrison.
That's awesome. So at one point, were you thinking about doing that as a professional career or trying to go Olympics or something? Or were you trying to...
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. As a diving entrepreneur, and I was working, and my coach went to my mother and said, please let him stay here and go into the Olympics because he's a nice diver. And she said, no way, I'm taking him with us to Washington, D.C. So it was a bit of a letdown, but I met some very nice people.
Yeah, that's amazing. How many people know that about you? Were you into gymnastics too? Because you've been known to do backflips on stage. So is that maybe where that came from?
Yes, sir.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So very athletic. Your grades were okay. You barely made it out of high school. Was your exposure to punk rock and music, was it when you were in high school?
No,
Okay.
it was when I dropped out of college. and then I was introduced to Gary, Daryl, and Earl.
Okay.
And I met them when I was about 16 or 17 years old, and they were a bit younger than me. Daryl was 14 at the time,
Okay.
and Gary and Earl were about the same grade, say about 15, 16.
And you met Sid.
I met Sid at around 77, like
77.
I said. And there he introduced us to punk rock. We listened to a lot of his music that he had, the Ramones and
Yeah.
Billy Idol and people like that, you know?
Yeah, that's awesome. So
the
like,
Slits.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
So had you only listened to like, what type of music were you in leading up to that? I guess few like jazz and stuff like that and reggae. And before you heard punk, was it like when you first heard it? Was it shocking to you? Was it exciting to you?
Yeah, it was shocking,
Yeah.
but I could see that there was something missing, and that's where the Bad Brains first got their first chance to play. We were introduced to Hilly Crystal.
Yes, New York, yeah.
1984, 1980, 81, and Mr. Hilly Crystal had a alternative play on Mondays. He would let the alternative bands play.
And so he was the one who got you guys your first show?
Yes, sir, he is.
And what
in
year
New York.
Yeah.
We were doing a bit of shows in the backyard and in the basement, and we played a little clubs at like Hard Art and another place called Morgantown and Adams
Morgantown. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Madams, Oregon.
Yeah.
Madams, Oregon. Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So, wow. So your first exposure to punk, you're playing your first show. What was that? Do you remember your first show? Were you nervous?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We were nervous.
Yeah.
We didn't know how we were going to be taken, but people were very receptive and very honest and clapped and said, "Wow, you guys are really fast, man."
Really fast.
Yeah. And then we went to Studio 9. And we played at Studio 9, and they wanted to know if we would like to go down Central Avenue and play in the Central Park.
Wow.
And that's what happened with that. And then a lot of kids heard about us.
Yeah. Because that's way before the internet, way before any of that, just word of mouth on the street. You know what I mean?
Sir.
Like, I already talked, yeah. Because so you started catching a buzz, and people started hearing about this band.
Yes.
And John Joseph had mentioned like going on tour with you guys in the early days.
Yes. Sir.
And people would not really know what you guys look like. They didn't know you guys were African Americans, and you're playing in some of these southern kind of rednecky towns and showing up, and they're like, they didn't know what to expect when you got just seeing you guys and putting the name with the faces and stuff. Like,
yes.
It's crazy because there was no African Americans doing that type of music back. You're the first originals and only, I think, to this day, like came out with your style. You know what I'm saying? Like especially in like a very small subculture of a scene. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
So why was it you guys played so fast? What was inspired? Because Ramones aren't fast.
This group called the Dickies.
Of course, Dickies. Yes, awesome.
Yeah, and we listened to their music. After Ramones, we heard a song called Bad Brain, and they used to do it, the Ramones. And then after hearing the Dickies and a few other groups, Black Flag, and let's see, the Slits.
Yeah.
As I said before, we said, well, why don't we try something a little faster? Because we used to play these records that start out at 45 at 78.
Yeah.
78 speed.
In the car, babe. Go ahead. I'm sorry, keep going. 45 at 78, yeah.
Yes.
I have it written down. So the Bad Brain the name of the Bad Brains came from the Ramones song, correct? On Road to Ruin.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Did the Ramones know that? Obviously, right?
Not at first, they didn't.
Yeah. So your first shows. Also, I want to go back to a little bit growing up too. Did you grow up in like a strict household? Are you guys religious? Like growing up, what was that? And then when your family found out you're playing this crazy punk stuff, was there like a weird reaction to that, or like?
My father used to talk to us for hours about the intricate manipulations of music business and begged us not to get involved. We came from a strict house, but we said, Daddy, we really believe in ourselves. And he said, well, okay, if you want to go and try it, you can, but you're going to have to try it somewhere else because me and your mother can't take the sound from the rehearsal down in the basement no more.
Because that music is so foreign back then. Obviously, it's still kind of foreign to people now, but like just hearing you guys play something that aggressive, they're probably like, what the heck's going on? This is like nothing we've ever heard before. You know
Yes,
what
sir.
I mean?
I sure do.
So that's really shocking to them. So let's go to, okay, siblings. And so obviously brothers in the band. I have a brother in my band too. I know what that's like, having brothers in the band.
Yeah.
So was that something you both get into the same time? Obviously, you got
Yes,
the punk
sir.
together. So
Yes,
let's do a
sir.
band together.
Yes, sir.
And so now your parents are like, okay, not only are you into the music, now your brother, you both are become part of this crazy underworld of music. So did they ever come see you play?
Who, my brother?
Your parents, your
Oh,
family?
my parents? No.
Okay. They never saw you play. And you have a lot more siblings you have more brothers and sisters besides Earl?
I do have a son by the name of PJ,
Oh, wow.
and he lives in Maryland. And
Awesome.
he used to come and stand on the stage with us at the age of 7, 8 years old.
Oh,
Him and his
wow.
mother, over at a place called 930.
930 Club, yeah, great club.
But before then it was called the original place where they lived off of 9th and F Street was the original 930 or the Atlantic Club.
Yeah. That was in a crazy neighborhood. I remember that actually in the 80s.
Yes, sir. It sure was.
He has a sister named June.
Oh, your sister too,
I'm
okay.
sure she'll be happy that you forgot to say that.
Okay, sister named June.
Yes, so she was my oldest sister.
You're
And she
amazing.
was born in Jamaica and
Oh, wow.
came over in D.C. when she was about 22.
So she's older than you?
Oh, yes.
Okay. So you're the baby.
Yeah. I was in the middle,
Yeah.
and my brother was the baby.
Okay. So now we're in New York. Do you consider yourself more of a well, we band in DC obviously, but like a DC band or New York band? Like, what do you consider yourself?
At first, we were a D.C.
Yeah.
band, and then we went to New York, and after living there for almost 2 years, we decided to go back to D.C. because we didn't know if people wanted to hear our music, and it was
Yeah.
kind of rough in New York for us in those days.
Yeah.
So we went to D.C. and had to start all over again and get it together because we were invited, while we were in New York, we were invited by the Dam to go to Europe.
That's
And
awesome.
Mr. Captain
Sensible.
Captain Sensible, along with this singer
Yeah.
who was named
Dave Vanian?
Dave Vanian.
Yes.
They said, please come to New York.
Favorite band.
And we didn't know we would need passports. We were
You
so
kids, yeah.
yeah. So we got I put all our share of money into it, and just hopped on the train and went to the airport. But the custom agency said, no way, no passport, then no way.
That's crazy. So you were super young. That was like you're gonna be your first tour.
Yes,
basically.
sir. Mhm.
Wow. Hey, you can't come home and do the dishes while I'm entering HR live on the podcast. You can't make noise. I don't care who you are, my wife. I'm talking. This is really important. You're leaving, babe? Okay.
I get yelled
So
at.
that tour never happened with the Damned
No,
because no passports.
right.
Wow, man. Holy crap. Okay, so then what was your first tour then? What came after that?
Then we came out to California.
Yeah.
And that was our first officially playing out before public for people who were a bit younger than us.
Yeah.
And wanted to hear the sound. They were interested in the sound that we played because there was a record that we had put out called Pay to Come.
Oh, I know that one, yes.
And somehow or another it got introduced to some brothers in Europe, in London.
Yeah.
And it came out on New Music Express,
Yeah.
NME. And they said it was fine, and they put the chart put us at number 1.
Wow.
So we took that sound which was very fast
Yes.
and a bit positive than the other
Yes.
groups, and went to California.
All right, so there's so much I need to talk about, but you just mentioned positives, so that's why I have Think and Grow Rich right here.
Yeah.
So this is on that topic, so don't forget about it. Also, all right, PMA, attitude.
Yes.
Everybody that knows me knows that I was inspired by the Bad Brains for positivity and PMA, but
Yes.
they're originally inspired by Napoleon Hill.
Right.
Think and Grow Rich. So my question to you is, did you get into this philosophy by Napoleon Hill before Bad Brains or during the Bad Brains?
Before, a little bit before. That's what my father. One day I was watching TV and just laying around, and my father said, "Go read a book, man. Get yourself together." And he said, "There's a book on top of the refrigerator that I'm going to let you have my permission to read." So I read the book, and I found out it was Think and Grow Rich,
Wow,
Napoleon
man.
Hill, and I found out about a little bit about being successful in your beginnings of your business.
Yeah.
And that's what the Bad Brains wanted to say to people in the music industry,
Yeah.
other bands and kids, to keep that PMA, man, and you'll be all right.
Yeah, and so for you guys coming out from where you guys came from, playing so aggressively, so fast in the punk hardcore scene, but then having a positive message, that was so unheard of back then. Nobody was
Yes.
talking about that or
Yes.
pushing that kind of, everything was like, anarchy in the UK, fuck your parents, never mind the Bolocks, which is cool, but a lot of that punk rock was like very destructive
Yes.
to me. And your thing was about like fixing things and speaking about real issues.
Yes.
And I thought that was really powerful and amazing, and I think that's why it had such a big impact.
Yes, sir.
Because nobody was talking about positivity. It
Right.
was cool to be negative and angry and aggressive. You know what I mean? And like,
I do.
and you guys were very aggressive,
Yes.
music-wise.
Yes.
But then you have this message of positivity that's
Yes.
so powerful. So yeah, I mean, not many people know Napoleon Hill he's the one behind your inspiration.
Yes, sir.
It's crazy because this was written in the '60s, which is pretty amazing.
We didn't know that we'd be accepted by people on the level that we are now today. We were just little kids beginning to start, and we had no idea we're going to be this phenomenally received by
Worldwide.
people. Worldwide.
It's crazy. You're just young kids, just getting into this music,
Yes. Having fun.
yeah.
Yeah.
So why were you banned in DC?
Well, we weren't banned, but our audience was, because they were throwing things around, smashing beer bottles and dancing
They
and
were getting
frantically. And so they said, "No more Bad Brains. We're going to take y'all to another place where you'll have to play." And we left New York. We left DC after that.
Wow. So it wasn't even you guys, just the crowd was so aggressive.
Yes.
So what year was that?
Oh, that was around 1979, middle of 79, then in 80. We're officially started in New York City.
Yeah. Started over kind of, right? The
Yes, sir.
beginnings.
Mm-hmm.
So was that hard being accepted in the whole CBGB's world and stuff like that? Because it was kind of like a close-knit scene there. You guys moving into town. And
Well, it was a bit contradictory to what they had heard from before. And it was David Bowie and Iggy Pop and Blondie and the Ramones. And this was the forefathers of our music, and
yes.
they were throwing bottles and cans at us.
Holy shit.
And they saying, "Get off the stage."
What? That's crazy.
But,
Max's Kansas City and stuff like that.
Yeah, but then we got our first cassette tape that went out by Neil Cooper.
Okay.
And it was Rock for Light. And later on, they pressed it up on a LP. We had a great manager at the time. His name is Anthony County.
Yeah, I remember him, yeah.
Mm-hmm. But now we have a manager by the name of Joshua. And he took us, after about 20 years, he took us out to Chicago. And there we did the Riot Festival.
Yeah.
And then we came to Long Beach and did the Grower 6 Festival.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you have the first 2 tapes out at this point,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
There's no internet. There's some fanzines, and the word's just spreading. Just
Mm-hmm.
through your performance, through like your energy, and through
Mm-hmm.
you have to see the Bad Brains, you have to see the Bad Brains. I see every single one of my heroes talking about the first time seeing you, being blown away.
Yes.
So you had to go see it. You had to be involved in that moment. It wasn't like you could watch it on YouTube. And you had to be there.
Right.
You know, so like your energy and your message and your performance was just spreading through the scene like late 70s into the 80s in New York.
Right.
So then when did you realize that this is going to be my life? Like this is going to be something, I'm going to do music the rest of my life? Or was there a moment for that? Or was there like, holy shit, people love the Bad Brains. This is amazing. Like we're getting so big so fast.
Well, I think what it was the along with the message, we had seen Bob Marley at the Capitol Center, and
One of my questions for you too. My drummer said, I heard he saw Bob Marley.
yes,
So
and he inspired us. He influenced us a lot. So we started growing dreads,
yeah,
and became vegetarians, and the kids wanted to know where that came from. They were interested in us because of our hairstyle and philosophy, and we began to let them know that we had seen Bob Marley. And what made us so fast was a band we had seen also on the jazz level, Chick Corea, along with they called Return to Forever, along with Al Di Meola, Stanley Clarke, and Lenny White. And they were headliners along with Bob Marley opening up for them. And that was in 1981, 82, because that was the time that we started growing dreadlocks.
Yeah. So that was that performance changed your life. Seeing Bob Marley was like a big inspiration for you.
Yes, it sure was.
And I'm sure people say the exact same thing about seeing you for the first time too.
Yeah.
How that changed their life too.
Yes, sir.
So that had a heavy impact on you. And then, so how soon after your Bad Brains records were you starting to do when did you start doing the solo stuff? Because you did so many solo records, man.
Oh, around 84.
Okay. And what inspired you to do that? Just trying to do something different, trying to branch out?
Well, it was the Bad Brains that played reggae music at first, and wanted to play more. So then our manager at the time, Anthony County, said, well, why don't you learn about life a little longer, and I'm going to let y'all go. And we went off and tried our solo bands, and that was that.
Yeah.
Went right back together in the Bad Brains around 85, 86.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So is it true that HR originally meant hunting rifle?
Hunting rod.
Hunting rod, okay. What does that mean? Like, where does that come from?
I used to be a security guard in a parking lot, and my friends would go by and say, hallelujah, hunting rod. On the go with hunting rod and all these slang terms. And later on, I wanted to do something positive with the name.
Yeah.
We had heard Sting doing an interview on the radio, and he was talking about human rights and other messages that he had learned from music. And I said, that's what I'm going to try, human rights. But still, we were in the Bad Brains, and the Bad Brains wanted me to come back, and they encouraged me to keep on trying it. Other people would keep on trying with the Bad Brains, and y'all will be able to do a lot of work.
Yeah.
So you put so much into it, and I said okay, and that's what I tried, and it was good.
Yeah,
it was very good.
The human rights works wonderfully for you. Yeah.
Well, they were a start.
Imagine you came out as hunting rod though. That would be so interesting.
Yes,
a hunting rod. It was so different. It would change everything. All right, so for me, Eye Against Eye for me is like one of my favorites.
Yes.
So everything was building then for you with all those your first records going, which all great records, so much inspiration on there. But for me, when Eye Against Eye came, I feel like that was like, boom, that was just everything. The videos were out, and just that was it was like big for you guys.
Yes, sir. It was. We were, like I said, remarkably positive, and the message was connecting. But the way the music was sounding was incredibly. We were fast, sharp, and just really positive, and you could hear the music that we were playing was so distinctively great. Yeah. And Daryl, along with Gary, just put on the rhythm section when my brother Earl. That was incredible. And I was asking my brother to play more soul music. And he said, no way, I'm going to play what I want to play. And it was this fast stuff. Yeah, it was this fast music that I tried to dance to.
Yeah.
And for a few years, it was a cool but I heard this sister saying, "Way to go, Earl." I said, "Oh, I see what it's saying." And I stopped doing all this erratic force of dancing. And I came down from that. A friend of mine, Paul Bichau, who now has been putting on a movie for about 20 years of all the local bands, and he's going to be doing the first premiere of his show and by the AFI people, American Film Institute, and then later on the next day he's going to be showing it at the Hershon next to Smithsonian Institute. So he invited me and my wife to come and see him. And we said, sure, we'd like to see him. And he said he's been working on it now 20 years.
Wow. It's a documentary about all the music. You guys are in there and stuff?
We were into it.
Yeah. So Eye Against the Eye had more like, it wasn't just fast, it had more breakdowns and grooves. It was more like mosh it up vibes. You know what I mean? It seemed more heavier in a sense too.
Yes, sir, it was. It was raw.
It was really raw. But I feel like that record really put you guys on a different level.
Yes, sir.
It went from not just being like underground hardcore, it went to be like, I don't know, more not just people who heard you more, was more out there, you know. Whatever label was on was pushing it really well.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The videos. And then when Quickness came out too, it's another favorite of mine. That was super heavy.
Yes.
Really heavy vibes.
Yes, sir.
What inspired that from just playing just fast? I know you did fast hardcore punk and then reggae stuff, but then it seemed like just the more grooves, it got groovier and more like you could dance to it better for you actually on stage.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What was the inspiration of that? Like the more heavier vibes, you think?
I think it was just the way the group wanted it to sound. They were getting older, more mature. You can hear it in the music. And at first we were playing just raw sounds from a 2-track that we had in our room. And there we did Black Dots.
Wow.
And later on we started playing in the big halls, big arenas, and we wanted to have a versatile sound. So the group went into a rehearsal studio, and they just really put their best into it, and decided that they would do more intricate parts, and have this stop and go sign that would be accepted by the youths. And so we wanted to bridge the generation gap between the youths and their parents. So that's why we did a little of the songs that we did were more mature, and you could hear it in the sound.
Yeah, for sure. One song that stands out on the records that probably most talked about song is Sacred Love. Yes. Like, that was really recorded in jail. You know that.
Yes.
What jail were you in, and why were you in jail?
DC jail.
Which is really rough, I heard, yes.
Yeah. We later went to Occoquan out in Virginia. And one day, not Gary, but our manager, Anthony, had came to us with a great idea of recording the vocals onto the band through the telephone.
Crazy.
And he said, would you give it a try, HR? And I said, sure, I'll give it a try. We were picked up for, me and my brother, for I don't like to talk about this.
You don't have to. You don't want to.
I'm trying to avoid it, but we were picked up for possession of marijuana.
Okay, yeah, which is nothing. Thinking about that now, with how it's legal everywhere, like you got picked up for. Okay, anyway, so that happened. Okay.
Yeah, and they found 56 by nickel bags under my
Is that a lot?
seat. Yeah, it sure was.
I know nothing about it. It's 56. Okay, wow. And so that back then that's massive. That's like a big deal.
Yes, sir. And the kids really loved the music. They thought they liked the vocals, Mom. They were just intense, but
the vocals were amazing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
How many takes? Is that one take on the phone? Just one recording?
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
Wow, man. I just got goosebumps. It's so powerful, that song, and just so creative, and doing it from jail. It's crazy. Mm-hmm. How long were you in jail at that point? Was it a couple of days or something?
Oh, about 33 32 days.
Wow. Okay.
Mhm.
Because I was thinking, like, why can they wait till you get out to do the vocals, but you're actually in there for a long time?
So what had happened was the fellas that later declared their my possession of the group my brother was driving the car of the pair of us, and they said that they only introduced to the courts a declaration or an acknowledgement of finding 3 or 4 bags. And when my brother said, well, what's going on here, because it was a little bit more than that, and they let him go on a technicality.
Wow.
And he only had to do couple of days.
Oh, wow. So 33 days. Wow. Was it last time dealing with that crap, right? Moved on.
No, I kind of was a stubborn dude, and about half a year later, I gotten picked up again by the authorities.
Oh, wow.
And had to do some more time.
Wow.
So it wasn't until
you were rebellious.
Yeah, it wasn't until the third time that I gotten into trouble by the authorities again, and the judge said, well, if I hear you one more time make a mistake, one more time, I'm going to put you in jail for a whole year. And then I said, oh, I see. I better get my stuff together, man. Yep, and that's what happened.
How old are you then?
I was about 28, 29.
Wow. So you're in the Bad Brains. Obviously, that was during that record. That's crazy, man.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So yeah, you're still touring, and then when you're home, that happened to you, and then you go back out and back in the Bad Brains again, and then try to stay away from trouble and stuff.
Yeah.
Were you were you a wild kid growing up?
Yes, sir, I was. I was a little bit ahead of my time, and I wanted to try things differently than other people.
Yeah.
And that's how I was thinking about the music, and would put my message into the sound, and would let them know through my music what was the pros and cons of life.
Yeah.
And
you lived it.
Yes, sir, I lived it.
So when do you remember you first starting to write songs, like get inspired? Did you do poetry, you writing stuff in school? Like when did you start writing things down to make songs?
Oh boy. Well, the Bad Brains, that was in 79, 78. But I've been writing music all my life.
Yeah. Just different types of music, just lyrics and everything, yeah.
Yes, sir.
But not that type of music, yeah. So you've always been the main songwriter the whole time, everything?
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
Wow, man.
They'd write the music first, and then I would come forward and put in the lyrics.
And melodies too?
Yeah. No, not the melodies. They would come up with, Daryl would come up with the melodies, and then I would try to do the songs on the melodies that he was talking about. And he would say, yeah, man, like this and like that. And I said, okay, I'll give it a try, Daryl. But I don't know how it's going to sound. And they said, well, however it sounds, it's going to be a good sound. It's going to be outrageous. Don't be afraid, man. Come on, HR. You can try it again, and you can do it. And they
pushed you.
Yeah, he had me in the studio for quite a long time. Yeah. And we got it together about the third, fourth album.
Yeah, how was it working with Rick Ocasek?
Oh, it was great. He was a producer that let us play what we wanted to play.
Yeah.
He wouldn't try to change the band or try to make the band record other songs that were later picked up by Ron St. Germain. And he was just the opposite of Rick Ocasek. He would say, try this again and again and again. And until it was just right. And then when the music was ready to be presented to the wide public and to our audience. And that's how it went.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Rick Ocasek, that seems like it was the first biggest one you guys ever were with, right?
Yes, sir. Rock for Light.
And then you did Build a Nation with Adam Yauch from Beastie Boys, right?
Yes, we sure did. That was the last album that we did.
Yeah. How was it working with him?
Oh, man, it was incredible. He was into hip-hop and go-go and all these types of music, but he wanted the band Bad Brains to continually work out things in their own way.
Yeah, he's
And
a fan.
he didn't rush us at all.
Yeah.
It's a shame what happened with him. We really miss him, but you can hear in the Beastie Boys sound that he was like uncontrolled of what was happening. But I remember them playing in CBGBs. They were quite different than...
They were punk rock when they first started,
Yes,
right?
sir.
Pollywog Stew and stuff like that.
Yes, sir.
And
So
you
go ahead.
you asked them to open for you.
That's right.
Oh, at the Beasties?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, really? That's awesome. So they did a tour with you or something, or some shows?
No, we went on a tour with Leeway.
Okay. That's when you're on, yeah.
Yes, sir. And Leeway. That was the first punk band we went on tour with.
Yeah. But then Beasties did some shows when they first started.
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they totally were punk, like super fast and stuff. And then,
Yeah.
were you a Beastie Boys fan when they became Beastie Boys?
No.
Yeah, it's
I didn't know of them, but Daryl knew of them. And when I heard their music, I was remarkably impressed with their sound.
Yeah. Are you a hip hop person? You like hip hop?
I do listen to hip hop. I think that also I like good sounding dance music. I do. Mm-hmm.
But like, can you name a hip hop group you liked growing up? Do you remember anything that you really loved as in the rap?
I think the group that I liked at the time was the Talking Heads.
Yeah.
And other groups called Blondie.
Yeah.
That I'd heard later than when I heard at first.
Because she was rapping too, Blondie, a little bit.
Yes, she was.
Yeah.
She was doing a little reggae too. The Tide is High.
Yeah.
And these type of songs. And later on, when we heard of a group called UB40,
Yep.
that's when we started to give it a try, more reggae.
Yeah. Yeah, UB40 was awesome.
Yeah.
Were you into like Public Enemy and stuff like that? Did you like that?
I didn't know of Public Enemy until later on. Later on, I'd heard their music along with NWA.
Yeah, because their lyrics were very, for me, punk rock. They were like punk rock hip hop, like what they were talking about. You know what I mean? Like,
yes, sir.
they were talking about stuff that wasn't candy coated and stuff. You know?
Yes, sir. I surely do.
But yeah, you mentioned go-go too, and you guys played with go-go groups back in the 80s.
Yes, sir.
You guys at Minor Threat, like nobody really knows about that culture in DC. That I get to see EU and Rare Essence and all that stuff growing up too, and see the go-go mixed with the punk rock. That was so amazing, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, on the Soul Searchers.
Yeah.
A little bit of Al Green.
Yeah.
And these type of groups that were playing, and another group called DC. Called Stress. That's what Gary used to be playing the bass in.
Oh, he's in the go-go group.
Yes,
wow.
sir.
And Chuck Brown.
Yeah, Chuck Brown. That's right. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Doing the butt. That was the big one back then too. When go-go kind of blew up for a second, it was blowing up for a second in the 90s. I remember that because it's such a subculture of DC, man. It's something that nobody knows, you know.
Yeah.
But like having I think Minor Threat's last show was with one of those groups or some EU or Rare Essence, but you guys play with go-go, and that crowd was such a good mixed crowd, you know.
Yes, sir. We a lot of our influence was Run DMC.
Yeah.
And we dug their sound, and we wanted to experiment with putting that sound into rock music.
Yeah. Did you guys ever experience racism in the scene as being African American punk rock band in that?
No, not at all. It was more a combination of kids that did support us and did like us, and the older generation too, the hippies that had been around for 1960, 1961 through 66 and 67, and they would listen to our music and say, what is this? And we would say, well, it's just a combination of punk and reggae, and just give it a listen and you'll like it. And so people started liking the 60s again, and we said, well, that was a trend, and if you really like that, well, listen to this. And then we turned them on to a little bit of Bad Brains. They said, okay, cool.
Yeah. It's amazing. Was it because your band's called Bad Brains? So to say that to a normal person, they're like,
Yeah.
"What does that mean? What kind of music is that?" Even my band's H2O, and that doesn't sound nothing like Bad Brains. When I try to tell like a stewardess on the airplane, like, "What's your band called?" I'm like, "Oh, H2O." What kind of music do you play? Oh, I play punk rock. They still don't understand it because it's big, but it's still like this subculture. So you're a singer of the Bad Brains, and like the Bad Brains means something so positive, but somebody in the street like, what the hell is a bad brain? You know what I mean? It sounds like angry, but it's not. Like Did you ever want to change that vibe, Bad Brains name? Didn't you change it for a second on something?
Well, when I did my human rights stuff, but always the Bad Brains knew that it was going to be we meant bad by excellent.
Yeah, badass.
And you know how James Brown had put out a song called Papa Don't Take No Mess and other things, and we heard people saying, man, is he bad? Man, that dude is really nice. He's very good. And so that's what came about.
Got you. LL Cool J, I'm bad. Like all that stuff back then. Different.
They did one tour as Soul Brains, though.
That's right.
Yeah.
Soul Brains. That's right.
Yep.
And then I remember, did Mackie play with you guys too for a while too?
Yes, he did.
To me, he's one of my favorite drummers in our world. You know what I'm saying? Like
also Chuck Trees.
Chuck Trees too. Yeah, from McRad. So Mackie played what tour? Was that Eigen's Die? Maybe no. Quickness. Maybe Mackie played with you guys.
I think it was Rise.
Oh, it was Rise. Oh yeah, different. Wasn't he with him? Yeah.
And along with Israel Joseph, he was singing.
So where were you during that time? You just doing your own solo stuff when that happened?
Yes, sir. I was.
And for you, look from the outside, how was that seeing Bad Brains with a different singer? Was that weird to you, or did you not pay attention to it? Was that hard?
I was extremely into reggae.
Yeah.
And I wanted to hear more reggae music in our sound, but the other guys had been influenced so much by rock and roll that they wanted to stay with rock and roll, not do as much reggae.
Yeah. Did you ever listen to that record or hear him sing? Do you think he did a good job? Do you?
Well, I think it was more of an extreme accepted by the kids. They wanted to hear a little bit more rock and roll. But then they said to me a few years later, well, play the music that you love and don't worry about it, HR. We'll dig it. And we just want y'all to play what y'all like to play the best.
Yeah. Do you feel like there might be a Bad Brains tour one day?
Yes, sir, we did.
No, in the future, maybe.
Yes, we did.
Okay. So maybe maybe that would happen in the future. But right now, you focus on your solo stuff and all that stuff.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. That's the rest of my notes. I have more stuff up there. Okay, I want to talk about you guys meeting too. But I have a question from Moby. My question for Moby is, what kind of advice do you have for young people?
Well, the advice that I have now is to don't give up and to keep the faith and believe in yourselves and just keep trying, and eventually you'll have your own original sound, and then just take that out to the public and see where they're going and see what they like when they listen to it. And that's what they did. And certain songs they liked a little more than other songs, so they just stuck it out with the songs that they loved.
Yeah. Were you ever concerned about writing songs to please the fans, just writing songs to please the Bad Brains? Like the subjects you guys talked about, and then the lyrics and stuff you guys wrote. Some of it was controversial, some of it wasn't. But you did what you got. You did what was right for the Bad Brains, and then if the kids liked it, they liked it. You didn't try to ever appeal to your audience.
Well, like I said, there were songs that we knew they understood. And yes, we did stick it out with our own original sound, too.
Yeah. I think you inspire people, too, like to be more open-minded into reggae and stuff. Like bringing that into the hardcore community, I think that inspired a lot of kids.
Yeah.
Because some kids might, I heard of Bob Marley. But when you guys are playing hardcore, then you're doing reggae, too.
Yes.
They have no choice if they love the Bad Brains to actually watch your set and hear the vibes. You know what I'm saying? Like.
Yes, sir, I do.
So you brought that spiritual, positive vibe into hardcore, which before I think was a really kind of macho kind of element of just a bunch of You know what I'm saying? It was just the vibe wasn't. It was aggressive and awesome, but you guys brought some shit. You guys can play a fast song, kids can go crazy and stage dive. Then we're gonna play a reggae song, you guys can relax,
Yeah.
take a rest for the next song before you stage dive. You know, you
Yes,
guys
sir.
had like it was like a roller coaster of emotion.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We also remember the disco, the bands like Village People and Duran Duran and groups like this were playing sounds that we didn't dig, man, and it just wasn't happening, you know.
Yeah.
They were saying disco sucks
Yes, I
and
remember
stuff like that. And they said, don't you all play no disco, whatever you do. We said, no, we won't play any disco.
Yeah, so even back then, like you heard stuff. Yeah, that's crazy. I remember all
Mhm.
the disco suck shit, man. That was so nuts, man.
Yeah.
People hate it so much.
Back then, yes.
So, is there any show that any one of your shows that stands out to you as something that was the most amazing show, or I don't know, something that all your shows are great, but
Yes,
one
sir.
particular show?
Well, I think recently when we played at the Chicago at the Riot
Riot
Fest,
Fest.
was for me that was incredible because I'd seen so many people that had dug the sound. But then before then, I remember playing a show with Bad Religion and the Beastie Boys.
Wow.
And other groups like this, Wu-Tang.
Wu-Tang?
Yeah.
Wow.
And that was a show that I always would remember.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This is a perfect segue because Bad Brains has such an impact not just on hardcore and punk, but hip hop.
Yes, sir.
Like Ty Dolla $ign. I'm
Yes,
sure you're
sir.
friends with him. I see him all the time with Bad Brains stuff on, and like you see
Yeah.
like different rappers wearing your stuff,
Yeah.
and bands like Rage Against the Machine covering Bad Brains, or No Doubt. Like the diverse impact you had on different groups, even pop groups and bigger groups. It's incredible, man.
Yeah.
Because your shit was so underground, and it never went mainstream where you guys were like these big rock stars, but it affected rock stars. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, sir, I do.
That must feel so good to have that message just impact that many people, diverse people. You know, it's
Well, it was a punky reggae party that
yeah,
we knew what was going on, and we felt that we could take hold of the whole music sound, and we gave it a try, and that's just what happened. It was for us a little extreme, though, to know that people liked it on that big of a level.
yeah.
And we said, well, wow, look at this. And I remember wanting to go off on my own, and Daryl and Gary was like, and Earl was like, come on, man, sign with these labels. And I said, nope, I don't trust them one little bit. They're trying to get us to sell out. And that's what made me go off on my own and come up with more original reggae.
Wow. Yeah, you stuck by your like convictions and stuff. I respect that. You guys always have. And I think that's why people love it too, and they can grasp how real it is, you know. And that's why I think it connects. Like I've seen like De La Soul, Tribe Called Quest, all these groups wearing Bad Brains shirts. My whole life, it's always. And I'm a hip hop kid, so it's like I like hip hop and punk. But when that shit meshed like that, it's incredible. The Bad Brains seems to be the band that did that, you know.
I didn't know that the Bad Brains were on that phenomenal level. Daryl and Gary did know.
Okay.
And they were just so hurt behind me leaving the band and them having to work with Chuck Trees and Mackie and Joseph I. But at the same time, they weren't trying to get me in a negative way to play with them. They said, well, if we're breaking your heart and you want to play more reggae, then we give you the respect and the opportunity to do your thing.
Yeah. What was that transition, you think? What was not a breaking point, but transition for you where like, I don't want to play this fast music anymore. I'm getting older. I've done my flips. I've done my crazy shit on stage. I want to chill and play more reggae. Like, what was that? I know you said it was Bob Marley, but you still continued Bad Brains after you saw Bob Marley. So what was it that made you really just want to just stay away from fast music, I guess?
Well, like I said, we were playing reggae more.
Yeah.
And then Daryl was saying to me and to the others, well, this dude is getting up there in age, man. Maybe we should try out new singers. And so that's when they tried out Randy from
Lamb of God?
Name of God, Name of Lamb.
Lamb of
Lamb of
God.
God.
Lamb
yeah.
of God, right. And so that's where they
I
decided.
never knew that happened. I said that. I didn't know that even happened.
Yeah.
When they got back together a couple of years ago and did just a few shows, they
Yeah.
had Randy come do the punk hardcore songs.
Gotcha.
And HR sang the reggae songs, mostly. So that's what happened.
Wow. I didn't know that. Well, first of all, there's only one HR. And so it's hard to have somebody been coming. Your vocals can maybe sound like that. Like Israel did a decent job at doing that on the Rise record, but there's only one you. You know what I'm saying? Though, so that's very hard to swap that out. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yes, sir. Well, thank you.
yeah, it's like, and I gotta say too, just on a different level, you look really good for your age, and you have really good teeth for being a front man of a hardcore band. Like I have all chipped teeth, and Kevin Seconds has a song called Hardcore Teeth. Like for like being, you have really good, good smile, man.
Oh,
Those
boy.
are not his
Thank
real
you.
teeth.
They still look good though. He just blew up his spot, but he looks really young. He looks really good though. The skin,
boy.
everything, man.
Well, thank you.
So you've been a vegetarian most of your life?
Pretty much so. I grew up vegetarian, but my father would try to force me to eat chicken. My
shit.
mother would try to force me to eat more pork chops and ribs and these things. And I threw up one day at the at the dinner table, and my father said, "Well, that's it. You go and relax yourself. Go on and meditate and do what you're gonna have to do." And I'd go outside, and I started eating the flowers and the leaves.
Really?
Just to find out what the temperature was with them. And I found out that some of those trees were a little bit poisonous for us.
Holy shit.
So I'd stay away from them and eat the vegetables and the salads that were offered along with the other courses of meat.
Yeah, you were vegetarian early too, man. Before, like in the scene, people started becoming vegetarian vegans.
Yes, sir.
And that was from Rastafari. That's part of that, being vegetarian.
Well, Rastafari was a lot more versatile.
Yeah.
And some Rastafarians had been going to places like Malcolm X Park and Central Park and sometimes even Madam's Organ where we play.
Okay.
And they would say, well, you know, you guys sound all right, but listen to this. And then they put bands on like Fred Locks and the Abyssinians and Dennis Brown. And we said, wow, man, this sound is incredible.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so we said we're going to try to give it ourselves too. Micro Profit and these other bands that were just so phenomenal.
Yeah.
And just so good. And along with the marvelous 12 Tribes Church of Israel, 12 Tribes of Israel, that was located in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where all that came from, the vegetarianism, all that, all the inspirations.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, because you look really good. I'm not going to ask your age, but I know you're older than me. But he looks really good. And do you exercise too, or no?
Yeah, I do. I do a little bit of, well, not now, but I did at first do a lot of lift weights.
Oh, wow.
Um,
Because you always really like
running and yes, sir.
And do you think you can still do a backflip or no?
No.
Do you remember the last time we ever did one on stage? Can you remember even what year that was or no?
No, I don't remember.
Yeah. All right, so we covered a lot of the Bad Brain stuff. Okay, let's see. I'm looking up there on my notes. Then we're gonna get into you guys now. You guys met in what, 2012 or something?
Yes.
And how'd you guys meet?
Angelo Moore was
Fishbone, much respect.
yeah, from Fishbone, was going
Greatest.
around taking the Fishbone documentary had just come out. He was going around to different cities and they were showing it in theaters. So he came to Baltimore, and that's where I lived because I'm from Maryland too.
Nice.
And I went to that, and afterwards he was playing at this little place across the street called Metro Gallery.
Yeah.
So I went there with one of my friends just to see Angela Moore because I love Fishbone.
Yeah,
and
Fishbone's awesome.
I had heard from someone that sometimes HR would show up at Fishbone shows, and but I didn't know HR lived in Baltimore, the same city
Were you a
where I
Bad
was
Brains
living.
fan too?
I was a very big Bad Brains fan. Yes.
Awesome.
Definitely in my top 3.
Nice.
And so we're watching Angela Moore on stage, and then this Rasta man walks in the door, and I said, "That's HR. Oh my God!" And then he walked.
You saw that smile. Go ahead.
He walked by me, and we met eyes, and then I don't know. He ended up getting up on the stage, doing a few songs, and the friend who I was with knew someone who HR knew, so I got introduced to him.
Wow.
And she was saying that during that time HR didn't. I think he felt kind of burned by women, so he didn't talk to women very much. But we went.
I can relate. I can tell you a story.
Yeah, I mean, everyone has a period in their lives where they
don't trust don't
the
trust
opposite sex, right?
Yeah, totally.
So, there was going to be an after party, and I'm not the kind of person that ever goes to after parties or anything like that. But I thought, well, I might have a chance to talk to HR some more, so I'm gonna go. And he showed up, and we ended up talking a little bit. We were dancing together. And the same friend who had said that he, didn't really talk to women too much, she started crying her eyes out. She was so happy to see him. So happy.
Yeah.
Meeting a woman.
That's awesome.
And it was really cute. And of course, he's a pretty fascinating person when you first meet him. So I just kind of started showing. I made friends with some people who were kind of looking out for him, and I started showing up where I knew he was going to be.
You stalking him?
No. Oh, great! That's a great way to put it, Toby. Thanks.
I'm just kidding. You were into him. You want to see him again. Let's say it like that. You're hoping to bump into him again somewhere.
Well, yes.
It's all good. It's true love.
Yeah, and so I would show up, and then he'd do a double take because he didn't know I was going to come there. And pretty early on, he started telling everyone I was his wife. I was like, "Whoa, dude, wait, no."
That shit. That's my wife.
But after a few months, I came around, and
But he put that out there. That's PMA. That's like you believe something and achieve it, right? You put it out there.
Right.
That's gonna be my wife. You made that shit happen. You put it on the atmosphere, and then boom.
Yep.
Yes.
It's kind of crazy, man.
I never thought of it that way, actually.
You know what I'm saying? That's
yes.
what I can conceive and believe we can achieve.
Yes.
That's a PMA power right there.
That's right.
Yes.
That's awesome. And so, wow. Okay, then when did you guys get married? How soon after that?
Okay, so we met in December of 2011, actually, right before I turned 40. Okay. And we got married the next October 31st.
Sick. Okay, awesome.
So less than a year later.
It's awesome. And so she's had a major impact on your life.
Oh yeah.
I feel.
She had heard about the reggae group that I was playing in.
Yeah.
And we fell in love at first glance.
It's awesome.
Because we had met in this old army. What do you call them now?
Army base or
not a base, but yeah, army
barracks.
Yeah. And it was being put on a party by Pablo Fiasco, who plays now in
with the Slackers.
Slackers and all.
The Scotch Bonnets. That's a Baltimore band.
and this other group, Left Alone. Yes.
Left Alone.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
Yeah, I know that.
Oh,
Yes.
that's right. He doesn't
Awesome.
play with the Slackers. I said it wrong. It's Left
Left
Alone.
Alone, yeah,
Sorry,
okay.
my mistake.
No problem.
No problem. Thank you.
So, so you were so I can relate to you because before I met my wife, I got cheated on by a woman. I just had no time for women. I just closed myself up, and I didn't want to have relationships. You know what I mean? So
Yep.
whatever happened to you, you're like, I have no time for women right now. I got burned by a woman, right? And you're just
Yeah.
like, I'm chilling. And then you see each other, and that's what happened to me. I saw a moon, and then I was like, okay, she's actually cool, and I can trust her. I didn't trust girls though because I got my heart broken. So I don't know what happened to you, but something similar. We're like, I'm not into that right now. You know, I'm doing my own thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So did you come out of a long relationship before you guys met?
No.
Okay.
4 months later, we got married.
Wow.
One day he told me he'd been waiting for me for 25 years.
That's amazing, man. It's awesome.
And when I heard that, I knew that I was supposed to be with him because I had never in my entire life felt that anyone really loved me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's my own problem in my own heart. But HR, I knew he did.
It's awesome, man.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yep. I had love for all people.
Yeah.
It didn't matter if they were red, white, or brown, or black. And I wanted to put those words into my music.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you did.
Yes, sir, I did.
Inspired a lot of people, man.
Thank you.
So with you and the stuff you were going through as far as like with your mental and stuff like that, all the stuff you've been dealing with, were you the person that kind of helped fix all that and getting...
Yes. I mean, the first day I met him, it was very obvious that he was going through some things. And that's probably why I held back for a while.
Yeah.
I just had to, kind of scope out the situation and see what was going on. And, other people had encouraged him to, visit different doctors in the past. And I don't think he trusted it enough. It's very complicated when you have voices in your head. That's what you trust because that's always there. And when someone else comes along and tells you that isn't real, it's really, I'm sure it's very difficult or even impossible to trust someone else telling you.
And scary too.
And terrifying. So, but somehow he trusted me and I was able to talk to him. Anthony County talked to him too a little bit. And again, during the same time I was trying to talk to him. And he finally trusted me enough to go.
Get checked out.
Yeah.
So did you know what you were dealing with before you found out what was wrong? Like,
yes, sir. It was God. I prayed. I got on my knees and prayed, and I said, well, please, God, give me a sign that you're listening to me. And he did. God gave me the sign. And I decided to go to the leaders of the medicine and modern medicine.
Yeah.
I decided to give it a chance to take it.
Yeah.
And along with meeting a doctor, the Lord came into my life more, and he said, well, if you want to do these things, you're going to have to take your time in doing them. And so that's what I did. It was the Holy Spirit, though, that had changed me and put me on the right road.
And the help of her as well.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Had you been checked out before that or your whole life? Like, have you known, like, is your whole life you've been having issues or you never, or was you, since you got older, was like, what do you think, when did it start or what do you think, it's not been your whole life, right? I mean.
Well, it had been in 1988 that I went to Jamaica. And shortly after that, around 1990, that was when I decided to check it out and give it a try, encouraged by my wife. And she then said, well, if you go and try, it may just work. Try a little modern medicine and leave the drinking and the smoking alone. And that's when I said, what? Oh, man, I'm going to have to leave. I missed that. And God said to me, well, you're going to have to make a decision. And if you really want your vocals to be as
perfect and powerful,
as received by the masses, then you're going to have to take care of yourself a little more. And that's when I stopped the smoking. He said, if you feel the need to get high, then experience a natural high. And I began to listen to more music, people like Jimi Hendrix, and the Curtis Mayfield, and the Impressions and Delphonics, who also were received on a phenomenal level in the 60s. And later on, I asked my deliverer to give me that ability to find out what's going on with these people. And God said, well, I'll show you the way. Just keep on trying and know thyself and know what you know, and God will help those who help themselves. So I've been introduced to the Holy Bible through Think and Grow Rich. And he was talking about how Jesus Christ and Moses and these other prophets had explained to their followers that they can reach a redemptive level, and that they can hold on to the truth and be received and through the mercy of God. And that was when I took hold of my consciousness and decided that I would give it a try, and it worked out great.
That's awesome. So you don't smoke at all, huh?
Not now.
Wow.
Yeah, he stopped that years before I even met him.
And drinking too, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And
what about like CBDs oils and stuff like that? That's like people use that now, right?
I did give it a try. I was trying different things.
When you had the headaches.
Acupuncture and yoga and CBD oil. And the doctor was saying, the specialist from Jefferson Hospital had said, well, those things are good, but had you ever tried modern medicine and being looked at by professionals in the medical field? And I said, I'll give that a try. And like I said earlier, I was then reminded of, along with living, I would have to change my diet, because they said you're going to have to eat more leafy food and
leafy
more
greens and shit? Wow, even being a vegetarian too, sometimes it's hard. You become eating more carbs and stuff. You eat less. You know what I mean? It's hard. I've been a junk food vegetarian before too. But now I'm vegan, but it's way different. You know, like cleaner.
Yes, sir.
So then you guys, so when you got help and you had brain surgery, right, in 2017 or no?
All the time merges together in my mind. I think it was 2017. Yeah.
So what led up to that point of having to get surgery?
So he'd been getting really intense headaches for a really long time, even before I met him. But they didn't come real often. But the couple years before that, so 2015, 2016, they just started happening more and more often and getting more and more intense. And it was really terrifying. And until he started getting them like all day.
Like migraines?
It's worse than a migraine. It's like level 10 pain. It's level 10 pain. So it's similar pain to trigeminal neuralgia, which and what he had is called SUNCT, SUNCT, and they both affect a similar nerve in the side of your face, and his was more behind his eye. Ooh. But it was extremely intense pain that would last for I don't know, 5 to 15 minutes, stop for a few seconds, and then start again. Over and over and over and over, over and over and over and over, all day and all night. And it was hard to watch him going through that, and it was also really bad for me because I wasn't getting any sleep, and I was working and trying to take care of him and get him to all his appointments and everything. It was I almost had a breakdown.
So nothing could help it. Nothing helped the headaches at that point.
The CBD oil helped a little bit, helped for a while, and then it stopped.
Yeah.
But he was getting acupuncture, chiropractic. I was giving him herbs because I'm an herbalist. I was trying everything that I know that I have in my tool bag, and it wasn't doing it. And so that and we had to have, it was a long wait to get in. There's this like special headache center at the hospital.
Really?
Yeah, and they were like, it's a month's wait to get in there. So I was trying all this stuff while we're waiting to get into that place because you have to do something. I mean, I felt helpless, you know?
Yeah.
And so they did MRI. He tried several different pain medications, but they didn't help. They tried this thing where they hospitalize you and they give you infusions, intravenous infusions of lidocaine.
Okay.
Some people, it relieves it for a while. It didn't, and it just made him fall all over the place. He didn't respond to it very well. It was scary.
Did it make you throw up too and stuff, or no?
No, it did make him dizzy, but he didn't throw up.
I lose my mind, and that's intense.
And I think I started to say earlier, it's a lot of times referred to as suicide syndrome because the pain is so bad, and a lot of times nothing helps it. People just can't handle it anymore. Yeah. So, you know, every day I go to work freaking out because I have to leave him alone. Yeah. And like, okay, is he still going to be there when I get home? Not to be morbid, but that was a real thought that I had. But I think he, and that's where I think I helped him the most, just being there for him because that gave him something to live for.
Before I even met you, I heard that about you. He has an awesome wife, and you were helping him get all that worked out. Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing.
So then, shorten the story a little bit. The MRIs were showing a blood vessel was rubbing up against a nerve, and that's what they thought was causing it. It doesn't. The MRIs do not always show something like that. Yeah. Sometimes it's just a complete, total mystery. So they had this. So it showed this. So they said, well, that's probably what's causing it. And after we tried everything else, surgery is always a last resort. Yeah. It has to be. We went to a specialist at a different hospital who has done this surgery on people with trigeminal neuralgia hundreds of times. Yeah. And he said, I think I can help you. So did it. It took a long time to heal from the surgery. So he was still getting headaches. So we didn't even know if it worked for like 6 months. And then they started lessening. And then he had a year break with no headaches. Wow. So that was a celebration. And now he just, gets one every couple months or every 3 months or something. So, yeah.
Wow, it's the first time giving into, going to the doctors and stuff at work. That's awesome.
Yes, sir. And also through the faith in God.
Yeah, man.
That had, for me, been the answer to all my prayers.
Yeah, in the PMA.
Mm-hmm, PMA all the way. And my music, I'd been singing about it for years. No. But then I had to experience it, and I knew then that I'd have to keep my PMA, and I'd have to be a good man and play more reggae. So that's what I did, and I authentically became healed through that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you really didn't mess with doctors your whole life. You never trusted doctors or never wanted. You always did healed yourself through natural things mostly your whole life.
Yes, sir.
Wow. Just because you didn't trust them, probably, right?
Well, I think that modern medicine was always taught to me, and I once in a while I go to the hospital, and I was operated on during my high school years. Okay. And for pole vaulting. Yeah. Pole vaulting. And then a few years later, I said, well, I'm going to have to try this out because the doctor had requested it for me to try. And it worked out okay. Yeah. But I'm still accepted by the musicians. And they said, well, if you want to try a little more reggae, then go right ahead, like I said earlier.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So you're way better now. So that's pretty much helped everything, basically. Do you have to be on medication too to balance that, or no?
Not for the headaches, no. Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, and then after the surgery, because that constant pain had taken so much out of him. It aged him.
Yeah.
He was like wasting away. It took a couple years to really
Bring him back.
To, he's pretty much, I don't know, as close to, maybe not all the way 100%, but 98. I don't know.
How do you feel? You feel way better?
Yes, sir. I do. I feel improved. I feel non-pain as much, and really none at all. And I'm so thankful for that experience, because at first I didn't know what was happening to me. I didn't know what was going on, but until I got professional help, that I do accept that faith in God more. And I'm just so glad that it's over with, you know, and that part of my life is done. And I remember certain stories in the Bible about Job and Lot and his wife, and other books about Jesus Christ and Nebuchadnezzar, and seeing the different changes that went through their lives. And I said, well, I know I'm being tested now, and I'm going to have to just be patient and put my faith in the Lord even more. And I would pray a lot more. And then Michael Jackson had came to one of our gigs, because I was still doing gigs while this was going on.
That came out of nowhere. That's crazy.
I know.
Michael Jackson came to a Bad Brain show.
Yeah, he sure did.
What?
That's where he goes.
This whole podcast took a whole turn.
He's bad. Who's bad, y'all?
You know it?
Yeah.
I have no idea if this
Wait
is
a
real.
second. He came to your show.
Yeah, he sure did.
What year?
I think it was 1986 or 87.
Holy
up by Milwaukee, I believe it was. He came to a show, and he introduced himself, but I didn't know at the time he was Michael Jackson. I thought it was just some dude that looked like him. You know?
Holy shit.
I didn't know it was him. I kept this a secret because I didn't want people to say, well, you're a poser and you're making it up, and sure, that's your line to get inside the business. But no, people like this, and also another superstar.
Were you really smoking pot with Brooke Shields in that photo? Is that real?
He doesn't remember, but
Is that real?
I'm pretty sure it's not Brooke
I
Shields. It's
remember.
someone who
You know,
looks
but the
like
photo
her.
right, talks about that photo.
Yeah.
So you remember actually smoking pot with her?
Wait, back to Michael Jackson. Did he come alone or with a lot of people?
He had a few bodyguards with him. Mm-hmm.
At a Bad Brain show. What? You didn't even know that?
And so what did he say afterwards?
He
Said you're bad.
He said that he expressed himself as saying thank you, more or less, than what he said in the business of music. He just came out and said thank you, and then he left.
Wow, man. That is
Amazing.
That's the craziest story in this podcast so far ever. Is there anybody else that came to your shows? You're like, really? You like our band? Or is that weird?
There sure was. There were several people. Like I said before, the Beastie Boys, Adam
How
Yauch,
about the Clash?
the Clash. We did shows with them before.
Great band.
And yes, they are. And there was this one singer that we had met named Julian, and he played the drums, and he had, along with Ray and one other brother who's went through a transitional period. He's not with us, unfortunately. We miss him a lot. Called Richard.
Okay.
Was named, plugged in with a new name called Feathermop, and the name of his sound system was Ark of the Covenant.
Okay.
Yeah. And he played these records, man, massive dubs and all kinds of music. And I can't even begin to name them all. But his instructions to me and instructions by Julian and Ray and other Rastafarians were to keep on trying, and you'll be able to find out the Lord. Because I wanted to know if there was any connection with the faith and the religion and of Haile Selassie, and they said, well, you're going to have to go out and find out about that on your own.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still stumped on Michael Jackson, man. That just came that came out of nowhere. So you mentioned the Clash. Is there any band you would say would be one of your biggest inspirational punk bands that inspires you to do the Bad Brains? Maybe one band. What would that be, you think?
That would be the Gang of Four.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And were they from overseas?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Gang of Four, you would say the biggest influence for you in that genre?
Along with
The Dead Boys.
Along with groups like I don't like to call them the Dead Boys, but
Okay.
it was groups like that.
Yeah.
Along with other groups, because they were so raunchy and so raw and so outrageous
Yeah.
in their stage appearance.
Oh yeah.
Along with the Milk Boys and
Dead Milkman, you mean?
no,
That's a Dead Milkman. That'd be crazy.
and
That's from Philly, right? Yeah.
the Dolls.
Milk Boys.
The Dolls.
Oh, the Dolls, New York Dolls.
Yeah,
Yeah. What about like
yeah,
Did you like West Coast stuff like Dead Kennedys and Circle Jerks and stuff? Like you played a lot with them, huh?
yeah. But we were just recently at the Milk Boys studios, and that's where we met Ty Dolla. Well, we
Ty
got
Dolla
a chance to do some dubbing
Big rapper.
and do some dub music with him and some rap music with him. And he wanted me, Ty Dolla said he wants me to do an intricate part in his music at a certain part of this sound. And I had met Ty Dolla before then at the TLC club.
TLA.
TLA
TLA
in
club.
Philly.
Yeah, yeah.
And he played a showdown ceremonial song show along with his wife.
Awesome.
His
And
girlfriend.
his girlfriend at the time. And he said, this is where we traveled to. And he had his phone with him, and he was showing me different pictures. And I said, wow, this is really nice. And anyway, I asked him, I didn't want him to feel embarrassed or put on the spot or anything like that. But I'd recognized his stage presence, and I also recognized what was so attractive about him and his style of music. And I said to him later, would you like to collaborate with some music with us in Philadelphia? And he said, yeah, man, talk to my manager and we'll see if we can get it together.
Wow.
And there we were in the Milk Boy Studios
Huge rapper,
in
Ty Dolla $ign.
Philadelphia. Yeah.
It's cool because I seen him with a Bad Brains patch. I put down his jacket and stuff. Like I saw him at the movie premiere here.
Yeah.
For your documentary.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he came to the whiskey show in March, and he talks openly about how he listens to Bad Brains before every gig.
Wow.
That's how he gets pumped up and ready.
That's amazing. And that's like such a. He's younger than us, obviously. That's a
Yeah.
different generation
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
of like massive hip hop artists that's
Yes,
connected to your music from 30 years ago.
Yes, sir.
That sums up everything here, like the power of your music and how it impacted people from all generations, man.
Yes, sir.
It's really awesome, man.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
So do you have any daily routines?
Well, other than getting on my knees every time I can
Yeah.
and reading a chapter a day of the Bible,
Okay.
I think that meeting Ezekiel, and
That's
my
his guitar player.
Yeah,
Okay.
in our new band that we're playing, Freshie and Adam and Ezekiel. I knew then that I had found a nice group that I wanted to work with on a regular basis.
That's awesome. So you do that. It's like an everyday thing, working on music some way,
Yes, sir.
shape, or form.
We were invited to Finland too.
Are you going there soon, right? In a couple weeks?
Yes, sir.
First time going there?
Yes, sir.
Wow. So I was going to Finland. That's awesome. And I always have the same questions, but this is a dumb question. Are you an optimist or pessimist? I know the answer to that. You're PMA all the way. You're like the PMA god in my kitchen. Do you have any regrets in life?
Oh, yeah, I do. I regret waiting such a long time to play more reggae and to play less rock and roll. I do wish that I had taken hold of it a lot sooner.
Wow.
But everybody in due season, everybody has their time that they blossom.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, looking back on it now, do you? I know you're so humble and you're just a person. Like to me, a lot of people, you're like HR, but you're in my kitchen right here. You're a human being just like me, and you seem very humble. But looking back on everything you did with your life, and how do you I know you're proud, but is it weird looking at yourself, like looking inside? I'm looking as an outside perspective, as you, HR from the Bad Brains, everything you've done and how many people you're inspired. That's got to feel great, man. That's got to be like an amazing feeling.
Well, I wanted to stay on the humble side.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was my manager now, Kate and Vaughn, who was saying, well, yeah, we know we want to get your new group, Human Rights, more established because, like Lori said, I was experiencing these feelings in my skull.
Crazy headaches and pains and stuff. Yeah.
So I had to stop playing altogether. And
that's your music's your life, so that must be hard. Yeah.
Yes, sir, it was.
I mean, that's how you express yourself. That's been everything.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever in your entire life ever want to quit or feel like I should have did something else with my life? Like you never had a plan B. It was just music.
Yeah. No way. I knew that I wanted to be a musician. I knew from an early age that I wanted to be successful as a musician, and that's what I would pray for on a daily basis.
Yeah, and you could have been an Olympic swimmer too, and a pole vaulter.
Yeah.
That's so crazy. Is there pictures of this stuff?
Yeah, there is.
There's gotta be an awesome picture. I'm like,
Yeah.
it's so cool.
There's a few pictures of the pole vaulting that are shown in the documentary.
Oh, that's right.
I'm in that doc yes,
too.
you are.
Yeah.
That was a crazy story because
And thank you so much.
Of course, I was honest with you. We played with you guys in Japan. We played at 4 a.m. I don't know why the set time was so late. People were jet lagged, and I remember De La Soul played the same song twice because it was so jet lagged. And then, yeah, like if you didn't see the documentary, Finding Joseph, it's an amazing documentary, and Howie Abrams helped put the book together for you. It's amazing. But yeah, like me and my wife were so exhausted. We're coming towards the elevator. Elevator opens up. You might have like a guitar. You had something on your head, something crazy at that moment.
Yeah.
And the elevator doors opened. And we didn't want to, we were like so tired. And you looked at us and you said something to us. We're like, holy shit. And then we turned around, we followed you, and we got into the Sprinter van. We went to the show and we watched you guys play.
Yes.
Like all the Japanese kids were like sleeping on the barricade because it was 4 a.m, waiting for you guys to go on. It was such a weird set time. But that was an amazing experience, man. How do you feel about the documentary and the book? Are you happy how they came out?
Well, yes, I am. But certain things put me in a perspective of, I can see now how the change to them was so enigmatic. And it was amazing, along with proactive in what we were doing and not being non-active. And so I wanted to put out an album that would touch everybody's souls and everybody's heart to help them. After I became healed, going through this modern medicine vibration, I knew that I want to help others of the
stuff you've been
privileged.
through and
Yes,
inspire them and show what you went through. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I feel like they showed a whole different light to you as a person, everything you've been through, because obviously there's rumors and things heard about HR, this and there's like these myths about HR and what he's been through. But to see the movie break it down to actually what really happened to you,
Yes.
that was really important, I think, to tell your story.
Yes, sir.
And I think it definitely inspired people to deal with stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think
one
that was
of those people was Henry Rollins.
Mm.
He gave us a ride to New York in his van.
Back in the day?
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, shit.
And that's where we met Henry. And later on, he became the lead vocalist of Black Flag.
Oh, yeah.
And he then went off into his own band.
Yeah, Rollins
And
band.
then he did poetry. And
Acting does everything,
yes,
man.
sir. I was acting. Was asked by a disco jockey, would I please put out a book of poems? And I said, well, I'll give it a try. He said, yeah, man, you can make it. Stig is his name. And he works for Rancid Radio up in Colorado, I believe it is. Or no.
He's in Washington State now.
Yeah, he's in Washington State. I'm trying to think.
Fact checker here. It's awesome.
Yes.
It's good. It's glad you're here.
Mm-hmm.
Always.
That's so Rollins and you were super tight. Him and Ian MacKay, they both speak highly of you. Like,
yes, sir.
Like seeing you for the first time, becoming your friend, those shows. That's awesome. You continue
Yes,
to stay
sir.
friends with Rollins, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh, you're a Minor Threat fan?
Oh, yeah.
They're one of the
Yeah.
greatest. That's my
Yeah.
top, man. My top for
Mhm.
sure.
I remember when they used to come see us, and they started a group called the Teen Idols.
Yes.
And then changed their name to Minor Threat, and then changed their name again to Fugazi.
Fugazi's another great band, man.
Yeah.
Excellent band. All the stuff he's done. I mean, I've been straight edge my whole life because of Minor Threat as a kid. You know,
Yeah.
changed my life, man.
Yes, sir.
So yeah, those are big impact bands. I think we covered everything on here, man. Oh yeah, do you have any Netflix shows? Do you guys watch Netflix?
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, what's a
Mhm.
normal life for you to like? Do you guys watch TV shows together?
We're
Yeah.
total homebodies.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do.
A lot of times what I'm interested in and what he's interested in are completely different, but we do sometimes watch things together, but we are really, really different from each other. We
You guys
like,
watch Game of
Yes.
Thrones or something? No.
No.
Me either.
No.
I don't watch that either.
No.
Mm-mm.
But
trying
thank
to
you,
think.
Toby.
Thank you, man.
Thank you very
I'm
much.
psyched to have you on.
And thank you, Miss Toby.
Miss Toby.
You guys have pets?
All right, BJ. Cool. Yeah, we do. We got
have
two
cats.
cats. Name what are those cats
Oh
named
my God.
again?
Are you serious?
Yeah, man.
Tigra and Naya.
And Naya. Yeah.
So you're cat people, not dog people.
I love dogs. I really do. I wanted to get a dog, and he didn't really want to get a dog. But now we kind of travel a lot,
Yeah.
and cats are easier.
Yeah.
I'm hoping one day to really more settle down in a little cottage and have a big garden and a dog who's my
love
best
that.
friend. That's what I really want. But I don't know if that'll ever happen because I'm married to a rock star. Oh, that's right. I gotta
Right.
keep the PMA.
Keep the
PMA.
I think we covered everything. Let's see. Regular influences, bad brains. What do you think about legalization of marijuana right now? It's amazing. Even though you don't do it no more, it's still the way it came
Oh
forward.
gosh, I'm so glad because
Especially what happened to you as a youngster and all
yes,
that.
sir. And I got friends who still I got a friend and my godson named Alfredo Weeks Jr. Me and him started a music label
Oh, wow.
by the name of Catch a Fire Music. But he goes on ganja festivals, and he was always, and he still is, encouraging me to do vocal exercises.
Yeah. Warm-ups and
And,
stuff.
Yes,
Yeah.
and he said, "Come on, man, try this green cannabis and try this." And I said, "No, well, I'll leave it to you youngins to do."
Wow. It's crazy you quit smoking. So people don't probably even know that about him.
Yeah, a lot
Because they
of
think
people have no idea.
Rastafarian, you smoke, like it's like,
Yeah.
We go to shows and people will say, they'll come up to me like, "Do you think HR would smoke with me?" I'm like, "Oh, no, he definitely will not."
he was
Sorry.
smoking before it was cool and popular.
Yes.
Before it was legal.
Before it was legal.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that the government has changed, and these states are beginning to be a lot more lenient with the abusive reaction for some people. As long as they don't abuse marijuana and they're dealing with it in a discreet way, low profile, and just mind their own business and don't try to make it worldwide, Don't try to be something you can't be, but just be a natural human and deal with it naturally. Then you'll be all right.
And it's curing people and helping people and stuff. So same with vegetarianism, how the world's changing. Everybody's becoming vegan and vegetarian. There's all these options. Like, everybody's being more conscious of what they eat and the planet. Like, it's amazing to see how everything's changing right now.
Yes, sir.
Well, I appreciate you being here, both of you guys. I think we covered a lot, right, Beach? You did good. But I want to thank you for being a positive role model for me growing up. I grew up with no dad. I had a couple of people that I looked up to as a kid as father figures that gave me guidance through their music and their lyrics and positivity. And you've been one of those people for me. So I'm honored to have you here and
thank you, too.
Be on my podcast and everything you spread, the music you've done, the people you inspired.
Oh, thank you.
You've done a lot of great things through your life. You should be very proud, my friend.
Yes, sir, we are.
You're doing a lot of great things too, Toby.
Thank you. I'm getting emotional. I want to get emotional now. I was thinking I'm getting emo now. Thank you. But
thank you. Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's an honor to have you in my freaking kitchen. DJ Papa says you're getting emotional too. We're all getting emotional because you have like such a positive aura of yourself, and you're lucky to be married to this man. I'm sure he has wonderful, positive PMA aura in the house. But man, so thank you for being you and all the stuff you've done. You're never going to know. I'm getting so emotional. I don't know why. You'll never know the impact you had on people because you're such a such a humble person. And I love that about you. And I love that, like, you never gave in. You said sold out to doing things you didn't want to do. You just did you. You know what I mean? And that's as punk as you can fucking be, is just be you and stay you. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir, I do.
And you don't even swear, which is pretty awesome, right? He doesn't swear, does he?
Very rarely.
That's not punk.
I swear enough for both of us.
Why are we getting so emotional right now? This guy has like some crazy aura about him. Does he make you cry all the time, but it's like smiling? And I don't care if those teeth are real or not. This guy's a great, HR's got like a great smile, man. An amazing smile. But thank you for being here. Anything else you should say? Oh, yeah, the art show. They just had an art show. It was awesome. I went to it at Lethal Amounts.
Yes.
A friend of mine bought one of yours the other day.
Yeah.
So they have this art. Where can they buy the art if they didn't buy it? They couldn't go to the show. Where can they buy it?
Yeah.
Is there a website?
That is an excellent question. I looked on the Lethal Amounts website and I didn't see it on there, but they might be putting it on there.
Can they DM you? Can they hit you up through social media?
You can definitely DM me at my own. It's at Herbalori, and HR's is The Real Official HR.
If they want to buy art.
Or I will just refer you to the gallery, though, so
Lethal
you
Amounts.
can also just contact the gallery themselves. Some of the paintings sold, but there's still some available, and there are prints of some of the paintings that are available also.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was really good stuff. So people.
Thank you.
I posted a bunch from the art show, so if you didn't make it there, hit her up through social media. You guys can buy some of the prints and buy some of the art.
Yes, Toby.
Support these two lovebirds. And that's it. We're going to get some food now. We're good.
All right.
Woo-hoo!
Awesome. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Hey, we did this podcast June of 2019. And I wanted to get on the phone with the HR real quick and talk to him about when he was homeless in Los Angeles. Also, I spoke to Lori after we listened to it, and she said that was a really good day for him. He was really into the conversation. He was really listening. He was really talking. He was on the microphone. So I'm really, really happy with this interview, and I feel like I got a really great convo out of HR. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And this next is a phone call. We just do real quick. Thanks. Check. Chickity check. Hello. It's Toby. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good. 1 second. I think he might have forgotten or thought he had extra time. Hold on 1 second.
We can try them all if you want. It's up to you guys.
Hey, Toby.
How are you, man? Hi.
Oh, I'm much better now than before.
Happy belated birthday, too.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
You're looking wonderful for your age, and and to me, you still have the best smile in hardcore.
True.
So I'm finally going to release this podcast on Monday. I'm excited.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
the one thing we didn't talk about, and I know you're cool with talking about, was just we never really mentioned about like you falling on hard times and ended up in LA and like kind of being homeless for a while. I just don't know what year that happened.
Yes, sir. That was in about 3 years ago, about 6 or 7 years ago.
And you would and you were in LA pretty much by yourself out here, right?
Yes, sir. I sure was.
And how does that like for me, you're HR and I have you like on this pedestal as a human from the back brain, just everything you've done. Like how does that happen? How do you fall upon such hard times? Like how'd that happen?
Well, it was pretty rough. I think it happened when I went out to LA. I was under the impression that things would get better for me, and little by little they did. But and I think it was through the year 2003, 2004. We had went to human rights. We had went to Japan on the and we came forward from that. And I had a few extra dollars, and so I went over to a friend's house, and he gave me a check, and with that check it was $8,000, and I was able to live for a little while in hotels, but it ran out, and so I found myself homeless again, and it was pretty rough. Like I said, I was popping around, moving around from lunch ports to backyards, and people would tell me, "No, you can't stay here. You have to move."
Yeah.
And it was pretty rough.
And yeah, I can imagine like just living on the street, especially in Los Angeles. I mean, people think that like because there's no winter here, that it's just sunshine and it's easy, but it's not, because like when it gets dark and it's like nighttime and street life, it's no joke out. You know what I mean? It's no joke anywhere.
Yes, sir.
I
would.
How many years was that for?
Yes, sir. That was about 4 or 5 years. It seemed like 10 to me.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I mean, did you learn a lot being in the street? Did it change your life? Like, was like a big impact on you?
Yes, sir. It did have an experience on me. It left an impression on me. I knew I'd have to take advantage of the work that I was accustomed to doing. And every so often, bands like 311 and other groups, POD, and other groups like that would invite me to do shows.
POD, awesome.
And big shows. Mm-hmm. And I would come forward and do concerts with them. And it was always a help.
Yeah, that's amazing. I wish I knew you then, man. Like I know obviously knew you were, but if I'd known you back then, I would have put you up in my crib for sure, man. Like I don't think I was even living. I moved here actually 2001, but yeah, man, you've had such an amazing journey, man. Into like you just celebrated your, I think is it 65th birthday?
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's true. 64.
64. I'm not gonna age you. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
But like,
no problem.
It's been through so many things, HR, and it's just amazing that where you landed now. You know what I mean? Like all your struggles and everything, and it's like you're still here and still positive and still loving life. It's very inspirational, man.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right, I think that's it. I mean, yeah, I definitely wanted to talk about that because we didn't get a chance to do it before. I'm excited this podcast is finally coming out. It was great having you in my house. My dog loved you. We all loved you, and
Yes.
and I can't wait to see you again. Actually, I'll be on the East Coast in April. Hopefully, I can see you guys out there. But yeah, I really appreciate you talking to me and being on my podcast. And I never thought in a million years I'd be on the phone with HR, but I consider you a friend, and I appreciate, even being able to talk to you and being your friend. You know what I mean? Because you've been such a big impact on me.
Sir.
So all the love to you, and I'll be seeing you in April, hopefully. And yeah, man, thanks for everything, HR, once again. I really appreciate it.
Okay. Okay, you're welcome. Thank you, sir. I really approve and appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you,
And
man.
keep up the positive vibes. You'll be all right. Everything will work out.
Yeah, I'm doing my best. I learned from you, man, so I'm doing my best.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Keep that PMA. And remember that Christ is with us, and the Bible, he shows us the right path to take. So it's good to keep that in mind. But thank you very much. Appreciate what you're doing. And thank you again. Thank you very much, Toby.
Thank you, HR. Great talking to you, man.
Okay, it's great talking to you.
Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.